All right, I guess this starts it all. We will see. Welcome to Friday with Wendler. Uh, as always, I need someone to throw a thumbs up or some kind of comment in the chat section to let me know that this is working. And it's getting out to everyone. My name is Jim Wendler, author and creator of 531, and I'm here to answer whatever questions you got. So while we wait for that, I will introduce two bands. I'm trying to do this every time, so I'll introduce two albums, I should say, and so we'll go with these in order of when they were released. The first one, 1986. So I was in junior high when I first got this. I had gotten his other band, and I loved it. And then he came out with his solo album, King Diamond's Fatal Portrait. I had this on cassette. Let me just tell you, if King Diamond's got a very unique vocal styling. He uses a lot of different vocal styles, but the one that everyone kind of knows is his falsetto. And this is one of the impetuses of all the extreme music out there, specifically black metal, although I wouldn't classify this as black metal at all. This is just heavy metal. I absolutely love this album, probably because this was obviously the first King Diamond album I got. Not the first one I heard him sing on. That was Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath. But anyway, I absolutely love this album. In fact, I just purchased this CD recently. Like I said, I had Fatal Portrait on cassette when I was a kid, and I wore the hell out of that cassette. I still remember hearing, what is it? The Candle. It opens with The Candle, amazing song. The most popular of this on this album is probably Karen, Charon, the Boatman. Anyway, love this album. If you can tolerate it, listen to it on YouTube. If you can tolerate King's vocals, please check it out. I think this is them, and Abigail are essential heavy metal albums by far. The next one is from 2009. This one was released on Profound Lore Records, and if anyone knows anything about Profound Lore, they do a great job. Or at least they did. I'm not sure anymore. I haven't really kept up with what they've done, but they usually have a pretty good sense of quality and uniqueness. This one is one of my favorite bands, and I got to see them live, which is incredibly rare. Cobalt. The name of the band is Cobalt. The name of this album is called Gin. Beep, beep. It's hard to see. I had this on vinyl, but I left it on an airplane. I'm such an idiot. Anyway, it's a two-man band. We got one singer and then a guy who does all the instruments. Phil McSorley is the singer. The reason why it's rare to have seen Cobalt live is McSorley was in the army and served and was over in Iraq. I'm not sure if he went to Afghanistan or not. But he had some pretty crazy experiences, and he lets out all his hate and frustration here. A lot of people say this is the black metal Tool. I don't know. I guess I can see it. But if you like kind of black metal, but don't want the extreme production and all that other crazy stuff and the Satanism and all this, this is the album to get. I think it's untouchable. This is to me a perfect album, which makes me laugh because I believe when it first came out, Decibel Records gave it like 7 or 6 out of 10 or something. It was ridiculous. But that album and their other album prior, War Metal, I believe it is, or Eater of Birds, and then War Metal, Eater of Birds, whatever, and Gin are awesome albums. So and they released one after that called Slow. McSorley wasn't in the band. What's his name from? Jeez, my brain stinks today. From Lord Mantis, Charlie, the singer and bassist for Lord Mantis, sings on Slow Forever is the name of their other album, which is a double album, awesome album too. But Cobalt, untouchable, absolutely untouchable. So let's see if we got any thumbs up going here. Yeah, we go. I appreciate it, guys. All right. Also, real quick, we are 1-0 at London. We had a ball buster of a game last Friday night. 14-11 we won. One of the most physical games I've ever seen since I've been here. And it played like a, what do you call, like a playoff game. Like a, like not just the first game of the playoffs, third or fourth game or so in there. The team that we played was, I believe, 1 or 2 divisions above us, so that means they were a bigger school. And anyway, just an unbelievable game. I aged about 500 years. So anyway, also I am wearing, this is the Wendler's Mystery sweatshirt. We found this, or I found this sweatshirt in our garage. And no one that has lifted in our garage has laid claim to it. So I just decided to wear it today. So yeah, we've asked probably about a dozen people that came in and out of the weight room in the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, and everyone says it's not there. So I am wearing it. It is officially, I guess, a hand-me-down. So here we go. It fits really well. What do you want me to say? And my mom just texted me. All right, here we go. I gotta turn this shit off. Oh yeah. All right, here we go. Albert Wang. He writes, starting to train the Beyond 531. Thanks for the training advice you have given me. It cleared my mind a bit. That is awesome, Albert. Very good. Listen, the other thing, Albert, is and this has been kind of, I wish this thing would turn off. I don't know how to do that. This thing is clicking on here. Anyway, oh shit. There we go. Albert, I try to make training very simple because that's what's worked for me, especially when I was a kid. I really struggled with that. I wanted things to be kind of black and white, and not everything in training is black and white. But when I was younger, I just needed a plan. I've always said that. Just tell me what to do, and I will do it. I will supply all the effort, all the attitude, all the grit, all that stuff. Not saying I'm like Johnny Badass or something, but just give me something to do, and I will do it. And I will run it into the ground, and I will do it the best I can. And it seemed like a lot of the shit that I was getting was just kind of waffling. Like even when someone would write, we're going to do 5 sets of 5. Well, what does that mean? I never understood that, even when I was a kid. What does that mean? All the same weight? Are we working up? Do we work up and work down? Is it kind of lighter? Is it heavy on every set? I don't know. So that's why I kind of started the 531 program, Albert. And if you need something to clear your mind, just try to make things as simple as possible that it allows you to do the work in the weight room and not just stress your brain out, not just when you're training, but outside the weight room. All right. And that's one of the reasons why it has been my experience, whether it's been in training, whether it's been in sports, whether it's been in school, whether it's been in business or anything like that. If I have non-negotiables, I'm doing this no matter, like every day or every other, whatever the system is, my non-negotiables, once I commit to that, I am good to go. So if you may need to do that, Albert, is just have non-negotiables, and on those things, you just work your ass off. You have to do them. There's no excuses that, maybe I won't, maybe I will. So anyway, just remember that, Albert. Okay. Here we go. Nick says, when you recommend 50 to 100 reps on assistance, can you elaborate some examples of how you do this? X amount of sets, any particular progression, all close to failure? I'm overthinking my assistance. So the reason why I did that was I would see, and this is what links to the first why I wrote 531. I would see something like dumbbell bench, again, 3 sets of 10. What the hell does that mean? And I never really enjoyed that because maybe some sets I could do to 12 to 15 and even several reps below failure. I don't know. So and I remember I was sitting at this desk when I kind of came up with the total rep thing. It allows you to hit a high level of reps, so to speak, with a variety of different ways. Generally with the assistants, now this depends on the assistants, we try to take things very close to failure or near failure. Now, as an example, if you're doing rear raises, right, on the dumbbell, on the incline bench, right, you're just laying down, doing, you can take that stuff to failure with very little consequences to anything. And I think it's important for people to do that so they understand like how much it hurts, how much it burns, so to speak. So like you can probably push farther than you think. I take kids through sets all the time. This is kind of off topic. Where I'm like, listen, I count out their reps. I'm like, let's see what you do. They're doing rear raises. And I'm like, oh man, you got 20 more easily in you. And they're like, oh my God, 20 more? I've just done 15. And at the end, they're barely lifting, but they're working. And I'm like, how does your upper back feel? Like, how does your, all that area feels? Like, oh my God. And I'm like, that's how it's supposed to feel. You're supposed to get a little tired. You're supposed to get a little pumped up so that people understand how to push. Now, obviously, let's say a rear raise versus, I don't know, a dumbbell squat. All right, the consequences of going all your sets to failure are much different. So you have to be kind of smart about that. So what I would probably do is Nick, is have some idea, like maybe right before you go, you're like, listen, like you're doing tricep push downs. Like, listen, I'm going to get to 100 reps or whatever the rep count is in as few sets as possible. And so you maybe take a minute rest in between or something like that. So I would probably generally recommend maybe 3 to 5 or 6 sets, depending on, if you're really pushing some sets heavier and stuff. But the thing I want you to do, Nick, is have some fun and be creative. Don't just do 2 to 3 sets. Don't just do 5 sets. Be creative in how you approach it and have some fun. One of the things we did is we did 100 reps of dumbbell squat one day with a 100-pound dumbbell. Not everyone did this. And the goal was to do it as in few sets as possible. Now, things get a little crazy. You're going to be sore. Oh, no, you're going to be sore. But I think the assistant stuff, I think people need to push the volume a little bit more. And I think people need to push the sets a little bit more. Again, we use the barbell lifts as like speed, strength, power. Doesn't mean that every rep is super fast. We attempt to lift them super fast. It doesn't mean some of the sets aren't close to failure. Doesn't mean some of the sets are not 10 to 15. But I always want those, at least the first couple reps, to be explosive and powerful. And I want those, and we take less chances with the barbell than we do the assistance work. Because again, you can take the assistance works to failure without much of a systematic fatigue. Woo, science! So I let the kids figure out the progressions. A lot of times I will go in there and say, listen, everyone has to do dumbbell bench today with a dumbbell they have never done before. They have to do it. Now, if that means like a little bit lighter, like, oh shit, I picked up, if I usually use the 55s or 60s, I'm going to take the 45s. Not never done before, but don't usually use. And I'm going to do, 2 sets is try to get 30 or more reps or something that's outside of their comfort zone. And I can't stress that enough. I think that is super important with assistance work. We use it primarily as a driver for hypertrophy, which for us means we're driving our strength. I know, don't go over 10 reps. You're going to die. You're going to basically turn into a marathon runner if you do 12. All right. All stupid. The progression, again, I think it's important. Not everything needs to be written down because your body's not going to always progress the way you want it to. So my particular progression is, you can keep some sets and rep records for the major stuff. You're not always going to, break them, or anything like that. It doesn't work as perfectly as people want to think. All right. Like I'm just going to add a rep a week. It'll be fine. It doesn't work like that. So, but yes, I think a lot of it needs to be close to failure or near failure, or to failure or close to failure. I just said the same thing twice, Nick. But I guess the final thing, Nick, is have some fun, be creative, push yourself hard. All right. I don't know if this is just me or if I see it a lot. People are scared to like overtrain. Listen, I'm asking you to do 3 or 4 exercises, 1 main lift, 3 to 4 or so, 2 to 4 assistance exercises. Man, push yourself a little bit. You're supposed to get sore, guys. People freak out about that stuff. Listen, not every day you're going to feel awesome when you wake up. All right, you're going to be a little sore. I think people are a little bit scared. Doesn't mean you're going to be run down like you just put a 55-pound pack on your back and did 6,000 squats. Yeah, that's not a good idea all the time, all right? But you're going to have to push and be a little bit sore. All right, here we go. Boss Man Gracias says, happy Labor Day and start of the college football season. Oh, it's crazy. Boy, did you see Boise State last night? Woo, tough times without Ashton Genty. And I happened to catch the wrap-up of the Badgers, the Wisconsin Badgers. And you talk about a team that had a tremendous identity for what, 20 or 30 years, and it's all down the drain. All down the drain. What a shame that happened to Wisconsin football. All right, all right, here we go. Any suggestions on metabolism increasing workouts? I thought doing my weight training workout in the morning and body weight in the evening. This is, I don't know about this one. Metabolism increasing workouts. Way out of my knowledge zone. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, as long as you're training hard, I think your metabolism, I guess, is going to increase. But the other thing is, I don't know how old you are. I think you're in your 50s or something, I think. Listen, your metabolism is going to, I don't know if it's going to be slowed down, but you're just not going to burn the same way that you used to. So you're going to have to, most people are going to have to adjust their calories down. That's just the way it goes. So I would highly recommend it. And like one of the things that Vincent DeCenzo said, and I loved it, Vincent lost like 130 pounds and has kept it off for like, 12 years or whatever it is he had to be very strict with what he ate and stuff like that. Not saying everyone needs to do that, but some people might have to do that. The thing you have to understand, Vincent said this, he's like, you're going to be a little hungry. You're going to be a little uncomfortable. So treat your eating like you treat your training. You wouldn't just like not do the workout, right? You're not going to like push a set. I don't think anyone really likes or wants to do any of that stuff. So the same thing with eating. Like be hard on yourself. Like have expectations, have some understanding. Like this is what I need to do, right? No one wants to go run hills and do 45 minutes of running hills where you're starting to get nauseous and your legs are burning. But no one thinks twice about like cheating on their diet a lot of times. So just understand, you're going to probably have to reduce your calories and be okay with being uncomfortable. Oh, speaking of Vincent, Jonathan Crossley, the dude. Again, Jonathan has forever my respect for what he did, his challenge. All right, here we go. He goes, I saw Vincent DeCenzo post a challenge on Instagram with 50 total reps of 2 times body weight deadlift, 1.5 body weight bench, and 25% body weight pull-ups for time. It's got the wheels turning for me a bit. That's awesome. Listen, there is a YouTube page called Mountain Tough, and they do some challenges here and there. And I always look at one of the things I do is I will use that as inspiration, and I just adjust it based on what I can do or what my body can handle. So, Jonathan, you already know what you're doing here. Like you understand how to do this. So when you see a particular challenge, if you know, for example, you can't deadlift, your 2 times your body weight, lower the weight or lower the reps or figure out something that fits your strength level and let it rip, man. Enjoy the time. And I'm going to tell you right now, make sure your hands are ready to go. When Mason and I did the 24 hours of 150, 100, and 50 pull-ups, it was basically a half Murph, so to speak. We did that every 4 hours for 24 hours. We did 9 of those workouts. My hands were killing me. Woo. So, but yeah, give it a rip, Jonathan. All right, Zach Russell says, morning, Jimothy. Oh, I haven't been called Jimothy since probably junior high or something. If someone's low on recovery with a newborn at home, would you recommend hitting it really hard twice a week or shorter, less intense workouts more frequently throughout the week? Well, listen, Zach, if I had to choose, I would do the shorter, less intense workouts more frequently if I had to choose. But I will say this, if you only have time to train twice a week and that's what you need to do, I think that's fine too. But if I had to choose, shorter, less intense workouts more frequently. So, but good luck, man. Being a dad, good times. It's weird. I was thinking the other day, some of the people that I know, some younger coaches and people around here, they, their kids are 1 or 2 years old. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I realized, man, I got a 21-year-old. Oh. Can't believe where's all the time go by. Anyway, all right, Nick says, Jim, you are the man. Well, I am certainly a man. I will not show you my twig and berries, though. Thanks for all you do. Genuinely, you help people more than you. I appreciate that, Nick. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to pass on. I was thinking the other day, like how much more time I have left at London. I was like, do kids really want to learn about training through like a 60-year-old dude? This is looking on down the line. I don't know. I doubt it. So I'm just trying to do what I can each day. All right, here we go. Brandon Fink says, thinking about trying conjugate method after this cycle, 5 through 1. Okay. Been reading some of Louis' books. He is adamant about 72 hours in between days. Would keeping my current split of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday be too taxing? Hell no. You're fine. Don't worry about that. You're fine, Brandon. You're splitting pubes. All right, splitting pubes. You have to understand that Louis' lens is through guys that are incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. And I've said this before. As far as like just overall strength, just dude strength, I was really low on the totem pole at Westside. There was guys that I out-totaled that were significantly stronger than me. So just understand that training, it's like reading, reading like sprint training advice from, whoever the top sprinter is and the coaches and stuff, and trying to apply that to like a junior high kid. It's just not, and I'm not calling you a junior high kid, Brandon, but just understand there's a difference between squatting, let's say you squat 500 pounds, than squatting 1,200 pounds. So just please understand that. You're good to go. Throw it out of your fucking mind. You'll be fine. Go give it a rip, man. Joe Morris says, morning, boss man. Wendler, look at that. Woo. I appreciate that, Joe. He says, I am a college baseball coach, also in charge of our strength program. Ooh, that's tough times, buddy. That's a lot of hats. For in-season training with a ton of kids in the weight room, 30 to 40, what would you prioritize? I'm going to give you what we do, Joe. And this is what we've done pretty much since I started. And I am telling you, it's easier than you think as long as you get it organized. Now, it's going to take time, Joe, to get it organized. So don't freak out that it's not perfect in the beginning. Okay? You understand that? So even if you just get one thing done, you're going to be fine. Just let them learn one thing at least. So the way that we do it is we in-season train twice a week. One day, the main lift is a bench press, and we do assistance. On the other day, we will do the main lift is the trap bar, and we will do assistance. That's it. Our assistance, because we're kids are running around doing a lot of crazy shit. For us, the assistance is always upper body. So it'll be like dumbbell bench or dumbbell incline bench and chin-ups, or overhead press and curls. It's very, very simple. It's very basic. Our main lifts are done. We still push our main lifts, but the kids are a little run down. We will back off a little bit. But I still think, Joe, it's super important that you train hard during these in-season. And the best way to learn how to be able to train hard in the in-season is in train incredibly hard in the off-season. It's like there's an old joke is, how do you make a small fortune being a strength coach? Is you start with a large fortune. So just understand that we as a team can train very hard during the season is because we train incredibly hard during the off season. So our bodies are used to it. You don't have to cover like a million bases in the in season. The goal is to try to get your bench. For us, it's the bench, the trap bar, and I always want the kids to get better at the chin-ups during the season. So we do chin-ups both days. And our assistance is always, again, just upper body stuff. So don't go crazy thinking I need to do rotational stuff, or I need to do this and that. Just get them in a basic strength training program and they will be fine. We do all of this stuff in a very short amount of time. Again, we are very well organized, and the kids do a very good job in the off season of learning how to do this. It's taken quite a while. And the other thing is make sure that their training maxes are incredibly conservative. You could always work up, but if the kid's having a bad day and he's got to pull, 275 for 5 and he's just, that's not a good thing. You don't want the kids doing that during the season. So incredibly conservative training maxes on both the main lifts. And then we usually say probably 3 to 5 sets of each assistance exercise, and you'll be fine. So again, bench, trap bar are the main lifts. Assistance could be whatever you want, Joe, but we just do upper body stuff. You can do some core stuff. You can do some, if you want to try, if you have glute ham raises or something like that, but just don't smoke their legs. And then obviously with the pitchers, you got to be a little careful. At least that's what I've been told. I don't think it's that, they're high school kids. They'll be fine. But good luck, Joe. Be smart and don't try to fill all the minutes. If the kids are done, the kids are done. That's the way I look at it. You've earned the right. You worked hard. You did everything I asked you. We still got 10 minutes. You're fine. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to fill all the time. John Allen says, hello, Jim. I wanted to say thank you. Well, thank you, John, for doing what you do. I finished reading the first 5-through-1 book, and the simplicity is really attractive to moving to that program. Someone recently asked me for help with his programming. Oh, I just lost my spot there. I apologize. And I explained 5-3-1 to him, and he said it sounded too simple or wasn't enough. That's fine. I know you mentioned that in your book too. Simple is good. Listen, guys, there's a lot of programs that work. I think you need to be invested emotionally, so to speak, in your program. You have to have some belief. But I am telling you that if you're what I call just the average dude, the most important thing is you're consistent and give great effort. I don't think it really matters too much what the program is. I know people will nitpick that shit, and that's fine. But I've seen a lot of people get strong a lot of different ways. But anyway, John, don't worry. The other thing is, John, and I've learned this being in this business, so to speak. When I was younger, especially when I started at Elite FTS and, up until maybe, I don't know, 2013, I don't know, I'm just making up a year, but, within the last 15 years or so, I was very defensive. I always wanted to be right about training. Like, I wanted people to see, like, hey, I know what I'm doing, or I want to defend what I was doing. Nowadays, you just do whatever you want. I don't care. I don't care. And the reason why, and I know this, is I know what we do at London works. And I know part of the reason why it works is because of me. Because I know what I'm doing with my program, if that makes sense. All right. A lot of people have their own program and they're very good at coaching that. And so I know we've had success. So if someone says, like, your shit doesn't work, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. It works. And I'm okay with you not wanting to do my program because it's not me. And I see that all the time. So if someone doesn't want to do something, it's okay. Just let them go. They might be right? They might be right for whatever they want to do. So anyway, don't worry about it, John. If something speaks to you, whether it's 5-3-1 or any other program, go ahead and do it. Just give tremendous effort. Work hard. Make sure you're eating and sleeping, all that stuff, and be smart. And the other thing, John, is none of this, I don't promise you results in 6 weeks. You got to have to put in the work. All right. And the best thing about having patience is you don't have to do everything all the time, all at once. Just get the good workout in, have a successful day, live to fight another day. So, El Mero. Look at that. I appreciate the donation. El Mero, you don't have to do that. I appreciate it. He says, good morning. I thought it said GM Jim, like I'm doing good morning. He says, I'm 31. I'm a garbage truck driver, now working 55 hours plus. Holy shit. Married and 2 kids. Recently had a DEXA scan. I came out to 32% body fat. I want to say thank you for 5-3-1. Having numbers to hit is great, right? That's the reason why I kind of created it. That's the stuff that I would have loved when I first started training is, again, just tell me what to do. I will work my ass off to make it happen. You got 2 kids, 55 hours a week. That's tough times, man. It's a lot of work. So I'm glad. I appreciate it, though. Thank you very much for your help. Thank you. Man, I remember the old, I'm sure some of you guys who are, 50, 60. I remember the old garbage men, man. Boy, were there some tough bastards. I remember them wearing like weight belts, throwing the shit in there, hanging off the back of the truck. It's, 14 degrees out in Chicago. Tough times. Ivan Bunchik says, hey, I felt strong yesterday. Went for a new deadlift PR. Pulled 335 like it's nothing. Could have done it for reps. For sure. It ain't much, but it's honest work. Today, my erectors are sore as fuck. Yeah? Well, congratulations on hitting the new PR, man. It feels good. We had a kid Wednesday hit a couple PRs in the bench, and I cut the lifts really short. They could have done a lot more, and when they lifted and got the reps that I wanted, two of them racked the bar. I was like, holy cow, you're good to go, brother. You're good to go. It was awesome seeing them lift with that kind of speed, and actually racking the bar and knowing like, oh my God, I can't believe what's happening. Obviously, not everyone feels like that every day. So congratulations, Ivan. Joshua says, hey, Jim, I am currently running Forever 5-through-1 full body squat, push-pull, page 150, template 10. On Wednesdays, workout, it calls for squats, 5 pros or 3 to 5 reps at training max, which is better. What do you prefer? Joshua, I would say when you're feeling very good, work up for the training max. If you're just feeling average, just do the 5s pro. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other at all. You have to understand, Joshua, that's the most important thing is that you're squatting correctly, you're squatting fast and strong, your technique is good, and you're putting in the work. There's not one that's better, and there's not anything that I would prefer. It would depend on the situation. So that's the best advice I can give you, which I know isn't really much of an answer. But the bottom line, Josh, is that to me doesn't matter at all. What matters is the quality and awesomeness of every single rep that you do. Please understand that. All that other stuff, like I'll give you an example, is someone's like, do you guys ever do sets of 3, sets of 5, sets of 8? I'm like, yeah, we do all that. I don't think it matters that much. If the sets are done correctly, doesn't matter. It's awesome. We're consistently doing what we need to do. I don't split, I call them splitting pubes. We don't split pubes. We just do the things right. All right, here we go. Craig O'Connell, the dude. First of all, Craig O'Connell, long time, Craig, I guess I'm not going to call you a friend. I've never met you, or maybe I did. I don't remember. I apologize. But he's been a great guy. He's really helped us out with just being a good representative of the 5-through-1 program and just everything. He's been a good person. He's a good person to my wife. So I appreciate you, Craig. Krog is your new name. That's your lifting name. Anyway, plus Craig. I don't know what Craig does for a living, but I know he lifts in jeans and like boots, and I love that shit. That's old school West Side right there. Quick question, boring but big and sore. Do you recommend keeping the boring but big work on the squat day, or can this be moved to the deadlift day after the 5-3-1 work day? So I think, Craig, what you're asking is if you're doing your main work on the squat and doing the deadlift, boring, the 5 sets of 10, so to speak, the 50 reps on. So when you squat, you do the boring but big deadlift work. When you deadlift, you do the squat work. I don't think it matters that much. Personally, for me, Craig, I would always do the same lift because I didn't want to have to warm up for another lift. I'm already ready to go. But that's just me. I know a lot of people think it helps them, and that's fine. But to me, man, as soon as I get done with the final, heavy set, I just lower the weight and I get moving right away. So that's kind of up to you. You would be a better representative. You would know that, Craig. You would know what you need and what you do. The only other thing I think would be fun to do, Craig, is I know you've used a safety squat bar. If you're using the straight bar, Craig, to squat with your main work, I would use the safety squat bar for the boring but big work and just adjust the weight based, how it's going to be a little bit different, adjust the weight. Or one thing that I think is a good idea is on the deadlift day, lower the weight significantly and do some of the boring but big work as a straight leg deadlift, or lower so it's 5 sets of 5 with a deficit pull, or you can work up, I'm just telling you that, Craig, just so you understand, or you can do some kind of rack pull or block pull, and instead of doing 5 sets of 10, which to me is pointless on block pulls and stuff like that, is just work up to a heavy triple or something. I think that would be, for me, that's something I would have loved to have done. The other thing you can throw in there, Craig, is good mornings. Obviously very light, but that could be for deadlifts. So it's just some stuff like that. Just understand that the boring but big, Craig, so when you're really thinking about this, is just hitting high rep or a heavier set, all that stuff, and then going down and just bombing the shit out of a big lift. That's all that is. So 5 sets of 10, that's what I started with, and this was years ago. It just seemed like a good number. But again, the key is working up and then bombing it with a big exercise. That's all you have to think about. So, all right, here we go. Brandon says, totally get it. Thanks for the different perspective. Not a problem, buddy. Chad Jones says, Brandon was asking about the conjugate training and Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, the 72 hours and stuff like that. Says, all right, here we go. Chad Jones says, hey, Chief. That's what Mason's old nickname was. It was the Chief. All right. Been using iso holds. Got my back. Okay, hold on. Okay, I've been using iso holds. I got my back on the back extension to try to help my back issues. Are those helping your back? Yes and no. I've had some good days and some bad days. I can't figure out what's wrong with my back. I had a really good run for about 3 days. That's usually what my runs are for, and then everything turns to shit. I'm back. The last 2 weeks have been really bad. I still do my stuff. So yes, they did help, and I think they will help. I just don't know if they're going to help me. So, but yeah, Chad, there's no there's no reason that it's good for your back. Let's just put it that way. So even right now, if it like my back doesn't feel good, I'll still do all that stuff because I still think it's important, and it doesn't aggravate it, so to speak. So yes, I think you should keep on doing them. Just be smart about it. You don't have to kill yourself. So, maybe one day I'll figure this shit out. So here we go. Tyler Drake says, hey, I'm still doing the 2x2x2 with press days and sled days. Okay. Should I do dumbbell squat and deads between pressing sets like Krypteia? You could. If I had to train twice a week, whether it, as long as I wasn't powerlifting or anything like that, I would do a lot of Krypteia style programming to keep things moving. And I think for me, our best strength and size gains with people I work with are with the Krypteia program, 100% hands down. But I also understand that you don't want to be doing that all the time. It's tiring. It's hard work, especially when you do it right. I've told this story before. One of my ex-athletes came in here this past summer. He wanted to work with me a little bit, and I said, fine. And I said, just be ready to work. The first workout maybe took 32, 35 minutes or something. And I asked him, and he was just like, holy shit. I was like, how long do you think we've been working out? And he's like, I don't know, an hour? I'm like, it's been about 32 minutes, buddy. He's like, oh my God, the amount of work that gets done. That doesn't mean we're going bananas. That doesn't mean every day has to be like that. That doesn't mean I do that in order to hurt the kids. I always give any kid I work with personally enough time to recover. So some days it's going to be a lot quicker. Some days it's not. It depends on a lot of stuff. If I were you though, Tyler, I would probably do that as long as you want to do it on that day. All right. Not every day needs to be, needs to be done like that. So, Matthew Julian. Yeah, I remember you. Okay. Says, hey, Jim, hip surgery rehab is going well. Thought I would keep updating the Q&A on progress. When I bench, my shoulders fatigue first. I just lost my place. Okay. And have much more soreness and fatigue through the week. Does this mean I need more or less shoulder training after bench? All right. There's a couple ways you can look at this, Matthew, and I'm not sure which is the right one. So my guess would be your shoulders are probably super strong and they're taking the brunt of the work because your chest and arms aren't as strong. That would be my guess. So when things are starting to get tired, your body kind of turns to your shoulders for it to lift the weight. That would be my guess. I don't know. I'd have to kind of see a bench maybe and work with you a little bit. However, Matthew, it has been my experience that if you have a strong point, whether it's quads or back or whatever, the one thing I don't want people to do is, well, that's my strong point. I just need to work my weak points. My attitude is, let's make that strong point even stronger and still work on our weak points. So I wouldn't say you need to train your shoulders less. I think you need to do your weakness stuff, and I don't know what that would be. It's not going to take more than, you don't need to spend all workout doing like tricep work. Just be consistent and give yourself, 12 months to really make sure you're hammering your triceps. If let's say you're working out 4 days a week, you've got 2 of those are bench or press days. Make sure you're hitting the triceps and make sure you're hitting some chest work. And chest work, to me, I love doing any kind of dumbbell, full range dumbbell work where you're coming all the way down, kind of pausing and exploding up. And obviously you can use flies. You don't have to go heavy. High rep flies, I think, work very, very well. So I guess, Matthew, my guess, again, I think maybe it's your shoulders are the strongest point, but to me, that doesn't mean you should not train your shoulders. Exploit your strengths as much as possible. Like if we were playing a game, I'll give you this example, and for whatever reason, the power is working, right? We run power right, power left. In high school, that was 26 and 27. If that was our strong point, I'd keep on running. It doesn't mean I wouldn't try to do other stuff, but I would keep on using what works, because that's what's got you strong in the first place. Don't ignore it. All right, Le Grand Fromage says, hey, Jimbo, are there any specific med ball throws I should use to increase my punching power? I need to be strong so I can protect my dog. I don't know about that. I think most of the stuff, if you want to get better at punching, you got to learn the technique. I think that would, whether or not, I don't think there's anything specific med ball wise. I think a lot of that stuff is overblown. Like you see people punching with dumbbells and stuff like that. Just getting generally stronger and more explosive is going to help. So the med ball throws that we do is we do an overhead and we take a big step or we jump. So everything is full body. Okay. So overhead, forward, overhead, backwards, explosive. And the other thing is we use a chest pass where we're jumping and throwing. You can alternate like right leg forward, left leg forward. But the key is it's a total body explosion. Just like when you're punching, it's total body. Just like when you're playing any sport, you're not just using, like when you block in football, you're not just using your arms, you're using your entire body. So that's how I think about that stuff. So, and my God, you must have an amazing dog that people want to, well, I don't know, beat up, or I don't know, maybe they're zoophiles or something weird like that. But yeah, so those are the 3 main things that we use for the med ball throws. Joe Morris says, thanks, Jim. I love it. We'll keep you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Joe. Be smart about it. And the other thing, Joe, is don't freak out about it. Just get what you need to get in. All right. Not everything has to be done all the time when you first introduce this stuff. I've said this before. When I first started working with the football team, we did dumbbell squats and push-ups. We just perfected that until we got into a good base. It was about 6 weeks. We didn't introduce anything else. So, Frank says, hey, Jim, during my walrus sessions, I noticed that while you often write them down as squats, push-ups, chin-ups, I found it way better the other way around. Chins first in terms of low to high reps. That's how I always do it. I always start with chins first. Always. So it's chin-ups, push-ups, squats. Chin-ups, push-ups, squats. Maybe do. Yeah, that's just how I write it down. But I always start with pull-ups. And he says, does this matter, or is it just do the work? I don't think it matters that much, I'll be honest. So this is, again, about the walrus session. I don't think it matters. You can do whatever you want. He says, I rest between rounds to get back to heart rate. All right, so chins feel fresh, and they feel way better than after a load of squats. Yeah, that's fine, man. Frank, if that works for you, that's fine. Totally awesome. That's what I like to do too. Chin-ups are obviously the hardest thing, right? Way hard. Like to do chin-ups with a 20-pound vest is way harder than doing squats with a 20-pound vest. But for me, man, the squats just tank me. They tank my lungs. So, but yeah, I experience the same thing you do. I like to feel a little fresher after the chin-ups. And I also adjust the rest times, Frank. When I first started, I would set my watch. I would, boop, and then I would do my pull-ups. And then I get down, let's say it says, 8 seconds. When I first started, I wouldn't start my push-ups until it was a minute 08. And then a minute 08, I do my push-ups. I look at my watch. Let's say it says, minute 22. I wouldn't start my squats until 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Yes, it took a long time, But just doing that and letting my body rest so I could get used to the volume, because this type of train was very new to me. I did that for like a long time. It was embarrassing. And then, but I got in very good shape. So one day I eventually, I don't know how many weeks this was. I'm going to guess 3 or 4 weeks. I said, well, listen, I'm just going to do my training and I'm not going to look at my watch. I'm just going to go when I feel like I'm ready to go. And oh my God, did I kick ass. So just understand, yes, your training needs to be hard. You need to work hard, but you don't have to like set the world speed record when you're training. When you're testing, that's a little bit different. Doesn't mean you don't push yourself in training, but it doesn't always have to be like that. Elo says, what is the single strongest lift you've ever witnessed any of your kids do? I assume you mean the London kids, right? I had a kid deadlift like 600 for 5 and then held it for like 20 seconds at the top on the final rep. I say that was probably the strongest lift I've ever seen, probably. We've had a couple kids deadlift around, 585 for 5, stuff like that. So there's, 600-pound trap bar deadlifters, but I think that one was probably the single most impressive thing. Big surprise. He was all-state in football, all-state in wrestling, and I think he's got maybe 1 or 2 years left of college wrestling, and he's absolutely killing people. So big surprise, right? Tremendous wrestler. Jason Taruso says, hey, my boring but big deadlift day, assistance exercises, 5 sets of 10 power cleans for a cycle or 2 instead of 5 sets of 10 deadlifts, good or no? Nah, that's a bad idea, Jason. What I would do if you wanted to add in power cleans, if I were you, I would do the power cleans first. I would not do sets of 10. I would do sets between generally, I'd say 3 to 5 reps. And I would do that obviously before you deadlift. So power clean first, keep the reps lower. Doesn't mean they have to be heavier. They have to be done correctly. And then maybe 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps, and then do your deadlifts. So doesn't mean you can't occasionally try something dumb like that, but generally speaking, Jason, not a good idea. You wouldn't catch me doing that at any point in time. So at least with the people I work with. All right, Timmy B says, do you know anything about the football team Archbishop Moeller? They're playing Mount Carmel today, Ohio versus Chicago football. A fellow Chicagoan here. I thought that's pretty cool. No, I don't know anything about that. I barely know anything that goes on around here. I think Moeller is in Cincinnati, though, I believe. So that's pretty amazing. I know Mount Carmel has always been an amazing school. An amazing, the Catholic teams, schools, I should say, in Chicago are usually really, really good. So, yeah, that's awesome, man. But again, I don't know much about that stuff, guys. Elo says, how and why did you lose so much strength after the 1,000-pound squat? Did you stop training for a long time after it? I lost about, 50 pounds, 60 pounds. Just didn't eat, didn't train the same way. Yeah. Listen, my body couldn't handle that stuff, guys. Your body can only handle that. I pushed my body into the red. And again, people have been much stronger than me. But listen, your body can't handle that. Especially genetically, I was just probably not meant. I could get up there for a little bit, but it's tough. So, yeah. I just can't train like that all the time, guys. Craig, I appreciate that. Sounds good. Yeah. Brandon says, but good luck, Craig. I appreciate you, buddy. So thanks for everything you've done. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, buddy. You're a good dude. Brandon says, have you ever thought of having a 5-through-1 certification program? We played around with it for a little bit. I just didn't know what to do. And it's, I don't know if this sounds, how this is going to sound, but like, I'm not a big fan of like CSCS or anything like that because there's a lot of different ways to do stuff. And just because I do things a certain way or because I have a certain idea doesn't mean other people can't be right too. So it's part of growing up, right? And I wouldn't even know, like, there's so much open to interpretation even within the 5-through-1 program, and I've seen people have success with a lot of different stuff. So again, even within my own program, things are going to be different from person to person. So, and I mean, I'll be like, I don't know, my heart really wouldn't be into that. Ivan says, have you ever attempted a muscle up? I'm currently practicing for that. No, I've never tried that. When that got real popular, I was well out of my comfort zone. So, which, by the way, I'm getting a surgery on my shoulder finally. How's that? Speaking of muscle, I couldn't imagine what that would do to my shoulder. So yeah, but good luck, Ivan. That's fun. We got kids on the football team that always love to do that shit. It's amazing. Some of the kids, unbelievably explosive. All right, Tim says, hey, I appreciate you, Jim. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. I've been doing 5-through-1 for over 10 years, and I'm always learning. That's awesome. So am I. Every off season, and when we play right before we play our first game, I have a tremendous amount of worry that I fucked everything up, and feel like I didn't do enough and I didn't do a good job. So I'm always learning too, and I'm really excited for the off season. Even though the in season is still going on, we're doing some different stuff in the in season, but I'm really excited for the next off season because I feel like I'm going to try some different stuff. So how I'm going to get there, I don't know. I got to figure all the X's and O's out. Tim goes on and says, hey, I've been following your advice to the best of my ability. I wish I would have known this stuff as a young man. You're exactly right. So, I go through waves of that, like, I wish I could have done this and done that. But man, I was so full speed ahead when I was a young high school and college man. I was just ready to go. And I think even with a so-called perfect program, I think the most important thing that I was so energetic and so driven, I don't think it really would have mattered that much. I don't think it would have changed that much. That's just for me. Listen, I'm not saying I was like, training 30 hours a day or something, but man, I was a driven child, man. I always tell my parents how lucky they had it with me. The only thing they had to worry about was like overtraining and the food bill. All right, Frank says, hey, it's nice to know that you start with chin-ups too. For me, resting until I drop to a certain heart rate also makes more sense than chasing the clock. That's correct. Heart rate accounts for fitness, daily form. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Dom Penn says, I'm doing a sport that involves a decent amount of muscle endurance as well as top-end strength. How do you recommend working into 5-through-1? Think CrossFit without the complex movements, more grunt work and sandbags, but similar time domains. What I would do? Well, it's hard. Like if you came in here, Don Penn, I would evaluate like where you're at strength-wise. So I wouldn't look at your sport right now. I'd look at just your total body, total fitness ability, and then we would go from there. So so for example, if your bench or whatever, let's say a lift is super weak or you're pressing or something like that, I would make sure to raise that up, if that makes sense. Or if your conditioning is very low, we would work on that. So I'm not it's hard for me to answer this. It really is. But if I would probably start you on like the modified Cryptea program and evaluate you from there. And it's been, like I've said this before, it's been my experience, guys, that we get our best strength and size gains and just overall fitness, just ass kicking ability using that style of programming. And we adjust the assistance now. We adjust. I wrote about this all in the forum. I adjust the main lifts and stuff like that. Not the main lift changes, but the sets and reps. We adjust that based on daily readiness. And I'm telling you, it can work incredibly well. So that's what I would probably recommend. And I think we also would need some of that conditioning stuff that you need. We would work on that outside the weight room. So not everything has to be addressed with your lifting weights, so to speak. But my big thing, Dom, is your general physical preparedness, if you worked with me for 6 weeks, would be through the roof. And then we'd start adjusting based on that. So So the answer to your question is the Cryptea program modified. Just like, again, I wrote about this on the forum. I think I've done a very good job working with people and adjusting it. It's taken a long time, but man, you get a lot of leeway into what you do with the adjusted program. All right, here we go. Nash Dog says, what's up, Wendler? Just wanted to say thanks for everything you've done for the strength and conditioning. I used your system for 10 plus years when I was coaching. That's awesome. It helped change a lot of young lives. Best of luck tonight. I appreciate that, Nash Dog. Thank you. I thank you for trusting me, and you've done some good work with some young men, young children. I assume there's girls in there too, but I appreciate that, man. I'm looking forward to tonight. I already got a little nervous pit in my stomach. So Dom asked again, he has maybe it's not a bad question, Dom. It's just very difficult for me to give you advice. And this is part of one of the issues when you get a little smarter and better at this stuff, is you realize like there's not just one answer for everything. And I don't want to seem like I'm trying to beat around the bush like I don't know the answer, because technically I guess I don't know the answer. But yeah, like if your muscle endurance is lacking, we would work on raising your top end strength. When you can do that with the Cryptea program, I'm telling you, everyone I work with, their lifts get better, and their fitness gets better, just their overall ass kicking ability. And I'm not the only one that has experience with this, but there's ways of doing it while still getting stronger, and that's what I would probably recommend. Frank says, hey, by the way, any chance the NOV shirts with a small NOV on the front and the big one on the back will come back one day? I think they were called Northern something. I don't know. My wife does a lot of that stuff. It's been a real pain in the ass since I've said this before, since the coronavirus or COVID or whatever people call it these days. Just getting... things have gotten exponentially more expensive. We just released a shirt for pre-sale, and we priced it as low as we possibly could. And I don't know. It's insane how much things cost these days. It's depressing, really it is. So I don't know about that, Frank. The problem with selling t-shirts is you end up having a lot in stock, if in weird sizes and stuff, and it's hard to predict how much you're going to sell, and they just kind of sit on that inventory, and that's just cost you money. I don't know if that makes sense, but man. But yeah, we'll look into, maybe getting some new t-shirt designs, or maybe bring back a couple old ones for pre-sale or something. That usually makes things a little bit easier. But I appreciate it, Frank. And keep on kicking ass with the walrus, buddy. I love it. I love walrus training. It's so much fun. All right, here we go. SSS 26. Hey, Jim, I love 5-3-1 in the flexibility. Thank you. I've recently switched to 2 days a week. I switched to 2 days a week as I play roller hockey once a week, okay? I've split it into squat and bench and barbell rows 1 week. Squat, bench, and barbell one week. And press, deadlift, and chins in the second session in the week. Okay, so the second session then is an accessory day doing supporting assistance, the barbell work not trained in that week. Okay. Will training barbell lifts every other week start to stagnate? Yeah, it's going to, but you're in season right now, right? SSS. And your main focus right now is your hockey. So you're trained to assist your hockey. I wouldn't recommend trying to do both. Meaning I'm going to do a powerlifting meet and get super strong here and play hockey. So if I was you, I would say, listen, I'm training right now to raise my fitness levels and my strength, GPP, right? We'll just call it GPP, so that I kick ass at the hockey. Will it stagnate? It'll probably stagnate. Everything's going to stagnate at some point. That's just the way it goes. But as long as you are consistent, man, and you're programming things correctly, you're not being an idiot about stuff, I think 100% you're going to be fine. All right? 100%. You're going to have... This is what's best for you right now, so make it work. That's the best way I can say it. Jonathan says, hey, I knocked out a walrus session while listening. That's awesome. 20 rounds. Woo! 5 pull-ups, 5 dips, and 10 walking lunges per leg with a 22-pound vest. A challenge came to me during that session. I'll do it by the end of the year. That's awesome, Jonathan. Man, you're moving there, huh? Oh my God, is that a lot of lunges? Oh. Oh. All right, I appreciate it. So here's the challenge. So 100 pull-ups, 100 dips, or 200 push-ups, and a mile of walking lunges with 25% body weight vest. Still have to plug in more of a strength movement like deadlifts, going to join the form and log it. That's awesome. I appreciate it, Jonathan. So 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and a mile of walking lunges. Whew. I'm interested. I assume you're going to do the push-ups and chin-ups alternate and then do the lunges, I assume, by themselves, because that would be tough to figure out. Unless, I don't know. There's ways you could do that. I would probably, I don't know. Oh, that sounds miserable. Well, SSS says, thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. It certainly helped recovery. That's the most important thing when you're working with a sport. All right, here we go. Jeremiah says, hey, my rack has a straight chin-up bar. Okay. Do you have any experience with the neutral grip handles that hook onto the bar or rings? I'm starting to get some aches in my wrist and elbows. Jeremiah, I do not. I'm trying to think of how you could do that. I'm just throwing this out there, Jeremiah, so just bear with me. The one thing you might be able to do, and it would depend on how big your rack is because it might not fit, is to get a football bar, you know, the bars with the neutral grips, put in at the top of the rack, and somehow, like, attaching that, you probably have to use like 10 rolls of duct tape so it doesn't move, or I'm sure there's other ways of doing it. If you have someone that could weld, maybe you could weld it on there so it would sit on top and then you would use that. I don't know. That's just my first thing. The only issue I can see, I think there's like plastic handles, right, that kind of hook onto the bar and you do that. The only thing, man, and this is just me being like an old dude, I don't know if those things break. I would be very scared. The one thing you might be able to do is getting some kind of ring or handle and somehow attaching it so it's there's very little rope between the handle and the chin-up bar, and you probably have to lift your legs up because it's going to be lower. I would probably look into that. Or, Jeremiah, if I don't know where you train, do that same concept with the rings and hang it from like a ceiling joist if you're like in your garage or something like that. That might help too. The other option is my son has one of those doorway pull-up bars. All his roommates do. It's hilarious. Everybody's got 4 roommates and all of them in their rooms have pull-up bars. And those have neutral grip handles. So you might be able to do that too. I'm not sure if that's feasible though. So, Seth has a recommendation, Jeremiah. He says, get some angle 90 grips, and wrap them around the straight pull-up bar. So I'm not sure what angle 90 grips are. Maybe someone will understand that. I'm sure angle 90 grips. I'm trying to think of anything else. You know, the other thing is maybe there's like some way you could redneck engineer like a lat pull attachment on top. I don't know. That's way out of my knowledge zone. So, you know, the other thing that I've done before is, and again, this depends on what you like. I've used I guess what they're 2x6s or something on the ceiling and attached in such a way that allow you to pull your head in between them. But yeah, if you're going to do a lot of pull-ups and chin-ups, it's super important that you keep them with neutral grip. A lot of them helps alleviate a lot of the elbow pain. Okay, so Jonathan, who's got the insane challenge, says he can set up my pull-up bar and dip station or push-up handles in my backyard and set cones 16 meters apart. And make sure I do, 100 rounds, I got it, of lunges, making sure I go past the cones each time. There you go. That's super simple. Oh, I can imagine. You start kicking those cones a little in. Oh, I think that's 17 meters. I was a little generous with my measurements. But good luck, Jonathan. Good luck. Your next week after that's going to be horrible. Jeremy, okay, yeah. He says breaking those plastic handles is my worry too. I fluctuate between 240 and 250. I'm in a room with a pole barn. Okay, I'll experiment. I'll look into the grips. I appreciate the help. Yeah, man, you're a big dude, Jeremiah. And congrats on getting able to do pull-ups. Whew. I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know, man. Yeah, that's a big dude doing pull-ups. A lot of that stuff, I swear to God, is made for like 160-pound dudes and the like. So, holy shit, it's 11:00. Hey, it's 11:05, guys. Let's get out of here and just get moving, huh? First of all, thank you for everyone for participating, for watching. I sincerely appreciate all the work that you've done and help and support and all that good stuff. As always, if you do a conditioning or something dumb like Jonathan's going to do in a little bit, have fun, work hard, be safe, all that good stuff. I appreciate every one of you helping out here and watching. I appreciate everyone asking questions. As always, check out the Jim Wendler forum. It is an awesome place to be.